This might sound crazy, but big tech probably knows more about you than your closest friends do. Think about it. Where you go, who you talk to, what you do and search for online, that's all recorded by big tech. After all, their entire business model hinges on tracking what you do on their platforms and selling that information to advertisers. But here's the thing, you don't have to put up with that. You can set boundaries. In this video, I'm going to show you 5 simple and actionable steps that you can take to protect your privacy. Let's get into it. First up is upgrading to a better browser. Your browser is your gateway to the internet and you can watch everything you do there, so you gotta pick the right one. Here's my top tip for people that use Google Chrome. Don't do that. In literally just a few minutes, you can download, install, and migrate all of your bookmarks and other data to a better and less creepy browser like Brave or Firefox. These browsers block trackers, preventing any unwanted data collection. And because they're just focused on letting you browse the internet, they're actually faster than Chrome. Brave even has a built-in ad blocker and VPN, which I think is pretty cool. Check the link in description for a full video of my favorite privacy-focused browsers if you want to learn more. The reason why a new browser is at the top of my list of tips for 2025 is because Google has recently reintroduced fingerprinting. What this means is that every single thing that you do while you're using Google Chrome is compiled into what they call your digital fingerprint and then sold to advertisers. The only way that you can effectively opt out of this is to stop using Chrome. And honestly, there is a world of difference between something like Chrome and something like Brave or Firefox. One is designed essentially to spy on you, collecting as much personal information as possible, whereas the other is the opposite. It collects the minimum amount required in order to function as a browser. The second tip is to create unique logins. Have you ever visited a website for the first time? You want to create an account, and it gives you the handy option of doing it in one click with a Google, Facebook, or Apple account. This is known as SSO, or single sign-on, and it's a super convenient, great way to get spied on. It works by essentially using an account that you have on a big tech platform as a substitute for a new account on whatever website you're signing up for. I probably don't need to explain how this leads to you being tracked. Anything that you do on this new website that you're signing up for is being spied on by the all-seeing eye of Apple, Google, or Facebook.
Smoking these meats here.
Even worse, you're combining all of your accounts into some Frankenstein's monster super account, and if it ever gets compromised, you're toast, pal. They now have access not only to the core account, like your Google account, but also every account that you've ever linked to it, which is really bad news. The good news is that you can really easily avoid this by just creating unique accounts. If you use a password manager to create and save your login credentials, it takes about 10 seconds and even shorter amount of time to log in using those credentials later. So yeah, usually if something feels super convenient, there's a bit of a privacy concession involved, but the alternative is just 10 seconds of your time. Number 3 on the list, locking down your permissions. Our devices know a scary amount of information about us, but only if we let them. Most apps are data hungry by design, asking for permissions that they don't really need, like access to our location, our microphone, and even our contacts. Ultimately though, you are in control. All it takes is paying a little attention to the permissions that you grant your apps. On both Android and iOS, you can really easily review all of the permissions for all of your apps and make the choice for yourself. Does your flashlight app really need to know your location? Probably not. Does your DoorDash app really need to access your contacts? I don't think so. While you're at it, limit tracking on the system level. On iOS, toggle off app tracking transparency to stop your apps from following you across other apps and websites. On Android, you can use the privacy dashboard to block apps from tracking you and revoke unwanted permissions. Every little step here adds up to a lot less data being collected about you. The reality is that most apps will ask for a lot more information about you than they actually need to function. But by doing this, you can take control of your personal information. Tip number 4, use a private messaging app, please. Whoa, it's big tech knocking down the door, taking us out. Get down. This is crucial for obvious reasons, right? Imagine some Silicon Valley weirdo was following you around all day, recording all of your conversations and everyone that you were talking to. That's exactly what's happening if you're not using a messaging app or an email service that respect your privacy, like Session or Proton Mail. To their credit, most major messaging applications like WhatsApp, Messenger, Instagram, etc. have all integrated end-to-end encryption. What this means is that they are unable to read the messages that you are sending people. But these apps are still collecting a lot of information about the conversation, such as who you're talking to, when, and how often. This information can reveal a lot about your life and your relationships, more than you might realize, and it's often stored and then shared with third parties. If you're anything like me, you're probably using a messaging app like all day, every day. So it's worth switching to one that respects your privacy and hides all of the information about your conversation and not just the conversation itself. Tip number 5 is shut the up. Tip number 5 is stop oversharing. That could be really funny. We'll see how it goes. Social media platforms are a really great way to connect and share updates about your life with friends, family, and Mark Zuckerberg. Every like, comment, follow, share, it all helps big tech to build a profile on who you are, how you think, and what you like. That data obviously doesn't just stay on that platform either. It's shared and sold and used to influence your behavior using targeted advertising. Being mindful about what you share on these platforms really matters and compounds a lot over time. This means being mindful of what you post, but also mindful of who can view it. Go through your privacy settings and limit what's visible to others. And I'm talking about other users on the platform, but I'm also talking about advertisers and other creepy third parties. Most platforms will let you disable ad personalization, turn off location tracking, and restrict who is able to see your posts. This way, the people that you're intending to share yourself with have a clear picture of you, but big tech is left with a murky image. Using social media doesn't have to be a free pass for big tech to track you. By limiting what you share and customizing your privacy settings to your liking, you can make your personal life a lot more private online. I'm Cam, thanks for joining me. And if you found this useful, like and subscribe and check out the rest of the channel because there's a bunch more videos like it. I'll see you next time.